Welcome back to the Wild Courage podcast. It's been a few months since I've done a podcast. I kind of took the summer off to spend time with the family and been kind of busy. Today, I want to welcome back Seth Dahl. Thanks, bro, for jumping back on here with me.
Love it. Every time. It's so good.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know who Seth is, you need to go back to hear his story. It's been, probably a couple, 2 or 3 years ago since you came on and did your story, but Seth has one of the gnarliest stories ever, and it's so good. So if you don't know who Seth is and you want to learn more about him, you can jump back and check it out. But yeah, this is something that we've been wanting to put together for a while. And like I said, I've taken a little bit of time off, but I'm back. We're back.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, so Seth has been coming to our retreat since we did his story, and is a significant player at our retreats and in what we're doing with Wild Courage. And the last year and a half, Seth has been leading at our retreats doing grief recovery. And we've talked about that. There's a great episode we did about grief and unpacking that. And we've just been going after that at our retreats. And also, I guess this is a good time to make the announcement that we aren't doing a fall retreat. I know a lot of people have reached out and tried to get back to everyone, but it was just kind of a combination of trying to get all the leaders' schedules dialed in, and we were having a hard time finding a place to have it. And we found a place that I think is going to be perfect moving forward, but it just felt rushed. I felt like I was kind of trying to force it. So we just decided to wait and regroup and do our spring retreats, the spring of 26. We'll get back on track with those. But I also just kind of felt like with the retreats, real quick, we kind of did story for a couple years, and then we did grief recovery for, I think we did 6 or 5, 4
or 5, I think.
4 or 5 retreats, again, based around grief recovery and getting tools on how to deal with grief and all the different ways it comes. And I just felt like a shift kind of happening. And I was like, okay, what do we do once we tell our stories and we deal with past grief from childhood and adulthood and just all the heartache and ass whoopings that we've faced in life? And the natural progression, I was just kind of praying about it and thinking about it. I'm like, I think this all is heading towards healthy family. Healthy marriages. What does it look like to be a man in today's society? And what does it look like to fight for a family? And if you've lost your family, what does it look like in that space? I think it's for everyone. Like if you're, because at our fire, we have some 19, 20, 22-year-olds, that age group. And it's like, no, that's applicable to them. Like, what does a healthy marriage look like? And, what if you're 65? It's not too late to fight for your marriage and get it better. So you called me a few months ago, and I was sharing you with this. Like, I think this is where we're going. You're like, dude, no way, because I'm kind of moving not off of grief, because I know you're still doing those courses as well, but I think I'm going to move towards doing some things around marriage. So share a little bit what you shared with me of why are you, because you do a lot of family stuff already. Why marriage?
Yeah, I think what I realized was I've been helping all these parents with their and doing all these classes and working with all these couples, just helping them create a family that's healthy and a family that's whole and working on that. But what I realized over the last couple classes that I did was like, oh my gosh, which I knew this, but it kind of had to hit me in the face again, Sometimes you got to be reminded of the stuff and it just hit me like, I'm trying to help parents create a healthy home for their kids. But if their marriage isn't in a good place, there's only so much they can do because they've got friction. They've got stuff that's undealt with, untalked about, unprocessed, and they don't know how to work through the day-to-day stuff, let alone the past stuff, but the day-to-day stuff. And then I'm trying to help them create something for their kids. And I was like, so it was interesting for me. I had some families with a lot of fruit in these classes. And then I had other families that it was like getting worse for. But that's typical what happens when you start dealing with like what's really in
Yeah.
there, what's really, being honest, like, oh, you haven't been
Yeah.
honest for 10 years and you start being honest, like, it's going to cause some trouble. But I just was like, I was feeling sad. I was feeling frustrated. Like, man, not all of my families are getting breakthrough. And just looking at it going like, oh, the marriage isn't at a place. A lot of the marriages weren't at the place to be able to then create that for their kids and their entire family. And I was just like, man, I got to go after marriage. I gotta, I gotta
Back
help
up.
you. I gotta back up. I gotta go. I gotta back up. So I'm like, I feel like I kind of had to repent of like, oh, I put the cart before the horse on accident, but I got to go back and help marriages get some of this down really well, get them in a good place, and then go, how do we now do this for our whole entire family? How do we do this for our kids? And I just realized with all the emotional stuff we've talked about and worked on, it's like if the parents have emotions that are kind of not in a good spot, it's like the kids all feel that. So it doesn't matter what you try to implement or do, they still feel what's really going on below the surface, and that's going to affect everything. So yeah, I just had to back up. It hit me right in the face because I wasn't seeing the fruit that I was hoping to see, expecting to see. And I was like, man, I got to back up. I got to do this first and then move more back into the family stuff.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me, because we all have our own marriage stories. It's just freaking hard, dude. It's marriage is so hard, and I think there's this like preconceived notion. Like I can speak for my marriages, like especially I had this narrative that I would tell myself, right? Like I was kind of a drunk before I got married, and then my when I got engaged to Mary, she's like, "This whole partying thing, like that's going to stop when we get married, right?" And I'm like, "Well, of course. What kind of monster do you think I am? Like we're going to get married and I'm going to settle down and settle into a family and this and that." And then we blew past the marriage and that didn't stop it. And then we're like, we should probably have a baby because we got married later in life. I was like 34 and she was in her later 20s. And so I was like, she's like, this drinking thing when we have a kid. I'm like, well, of course. What kind of monster do you think I am? Like, who's going to be a drunk and have a little kid? Like, we're going to church and doing all the things. And it was like,
Didn't stop.
no, because I hadn't dealt with any of my junk, any of my past trauma or, all the childhood stuff. And coming from like you, coming from a divorced family, my mom at that point had been married 3 times. My dad had been married technically 5 times. So there's something about the modeling of like in the back of my mind subconsciously, I'm like, I haven't really seen this work out super well. And I don't really want to go figure out why I can't stop my behaviors. And so I drug all of that into my marriage to
Wow.
this innocent girl who had the opposite of me, right? Like parents still together, like grandparents still together. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's so messy. And I think part of it is we think when we bring kids into the equation, our marriages will get better, right? We're like, okay, we're not doing great. Let's have a kid.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't fix it. Let's have another. So we'll put another kid on top of it,
Yeah.
and hope that that's the thing that fixes it and it just compounds it,
Yeah.
Because like you said something a minute ago, like our kids can sense it. They wouldn't be able to articulate it, but they know when the atmosphere in the house, when mom and dad aren't good.
Yeah.
They're so observant. They can feel it. They can sense it. And yeah, it's just, with Wild Courage, I would say there's 2 themes around the fire. And that's just our fire. I can't speak to all of them, but it's marriage stuff, relational stuff, and it's father stuff. Like those are the 2 themes that stand out. So that's why I think that this is where it's all
Yeah.
heading, is like we got to kind of work on ourselves and own our part of the equation and get out of the victim mentality. Because forever, dude, I was like, if my wife would have more sex with me, it would fix our marriage.
Yeah.
That's all that's lacking.
Yeah.
Like, how ignorant and prideful to think that, like, I
Absolutely.
literally, like, you could have hooked me up to a lie detector test. I believed it so fundamentally in my mind that sex was the big thing that was going to change everything. Guess what?
No.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. You would have more sex if you worked on the other stuff, and it
Yeah.
would have been way better. It would have
Yeah.
been making love, not just having sex.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are two completely different things. Yeah. It's just well, ironically enough, today's our anniversary.
I love it. 19 years.
And what's that?
19 years, right?
19 years.
Come on. Whoa. Look at that.
And I was telling you a little bit before, but I mean, I've talked about Mary and I's story a bunch on here, but what's interesting to me is like, and I think I came up with the perfect analogy when we were talking before. It's like we talk about sweeping things under the rug in the marriage, right? And then, Mary and I have done a lot of work, done a lot of therapy, a lot of different kinds of counseling. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago. We were walking around the loop by the canal. It's like a little 2 mile loop that we were doing, and just talking, and kind of were at a place where we weren't doing any marriage counseling, but we were thinking like, should we kind of jump back in? And I was just like, we've done so much work, been grinding for so long. Let's take a break. Like, let's just enjoy each other, because we really, really liked each other and loved each other. And we were kind of a good place. So we're like, let's just take a break. And that's been 2 or 3 years. And we both had enough tools that we could get to a certain spot in our marriage, and then we're both standing up looking at this mountain, and like we just go in circles right there because we didn't know
Yeah.
what to do with this mountain, right? So just recently, in the last few weeks, we started counseling again. And to use the analogy of sweeping things under the rug, like I think we've done a pretty good job of like we've picked the rug up
And
and
looked.
turned it over, but our whole house has carpet in all the bedrooms and the closets, and there's stuff still in our marriage that is hidden under the carpet. The rug's pretty good, like all
Yeah.
the big high level things, like we know how to fight. We know how to get back to each other, and that would derail us for months. And
Yeah.
now it's less than an hour. We can get back to good. We know the rules of engagement, and we
Yeah.
know how to say what we're feeling, not sweep under the rug. But bro, there's stuff buried under the carpet in the closet and we have to get help. We don't know how to navigate. So we're back in the fight, and it sucks, and it's scary, and it hurts. But we know the process.
Yeah.
Like I say all these things to the guys that I do life with and mentor or whatever, and I'm faced with that same reality of like hope is on the other side of this super scary thing
Yeah.
that's full of fear and pain. And I know I got to trust this process, and it's going to sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. But I'm grateful for all the work that we have done, because we're able to get back to good. And like, yeah, this part over here is not good. We got to go cut out the carpet and the closet
Yeah.
and see what's under there. But the rug's good. There's nothing
Right.
under, you know? It's like freaking hard. Here we go again.
I know, man. And yeah, fortunately for you guys, you have already done a whole bunch. It's not like you're starting from zero either. Where like
Yeah.
that's good. The
Well,
rug's good.
we have all these tools that we're like, we got to use them. We know how to use them. Like after our last week, it was brutal, dude. Like the toothpaste came out, and you can't put it back in.
Oh,
And it was a quiet ride home, and I was building up all my walls of self-protection again, and like pushing her away, and like, this hurts, this sucks, I'm scary, I'm not doing it. I don't want to. You're gonna hurt me. You're already hurting me. And being the powerful, brave woman she is, the next day she's like, we're not doing this, let's go talk. And we got good again. Like, yeah, this part isn't good. We still have a family, we still have life, we still have to communicate. You can't go hide, because
yeah.
that was my MO, is like run,
Oh,
So it's messy, dude. It's just
yeah.
messy,
And
but
that,
good.
yeah, messy and good. Hope's on the other side, freedom's on the other side, just
Yep.
like you always say.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's just so you know, Jeremy, like that's one of the things men do most is put those walls up and shut down emotionally and go quiet. Like men do that way more than women do. And
And get passive aggressive. Anyway, I used to, and
yeah,
probably still do at times. Like,
yeah,
you hurt me, watch this.
yeah, I'm gonna hurt you right back.
Yeah. In a way that can't be held against me in the next counseling session. Like,
Yes.
yeah, that's the passive part of it. it's like yeah, you just get, and I get it. Like I get it. When we get hurt, we go back to the things that's protected us our whole life, even though they haven't been there in a long time. Like I haven't had to build my walls up for a long time.
Yeah.
And it was like I'm sitting there in counseling, Seth, I feel them coming back up. I
Yeah.
feel my heart shutting down. I feel my mind going back to those old familiar places that I haven't seen in a long time. And I'm like a transformer, I'm like, and
Yeah.
all the self-protection comes back up, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't be in this. And then it's like, I need a minute. And she's like, that's fine, but you need to communicate to me like, hey, I need 24 hours. You can't just go in your hole and
Yeah.
disappear,
And
is
never
what
come
I've
back.
always done. Yeah. Well, it's a little bit better than I've always done, because usually I would leave like the state when it would
Yeah.
get bad. I'm like,
Yeah.
I got to go to Wyoming and shoe horses. I'll see you in a month. Like,
Yeah.
I, because I think you're right. Like men, like we don't know what to do with that, right? We don't know what to do when we're hurt. We either lash out and get real big,
Mhm.
or we retreat and shrink back.
Yeah. Yeah. We get defensive. Like we want to
So
protect.
defensive.
Yeah. That's what the transformer is. That's what the self-protection is that I want to defend myself from you. And then the best way to do that is to get out of here and go somewhere else and leave for a month or whatever it is. Or like, man, that happens so much in men. Part of it too, I'll just tell you this, like, so men do that stuff more, but women more than men criticize, which means they complain about stuff and blame simultaneously. So they kind of blame it on the husband. Husbands do this too, men do this too, but women do it more. And everyone does this at some point, like criticize, blame, and then the natural reaction is to defend, protect,
Mm-hmm.
defend. And then if that doesn't get dealt with, totally shutting down and completely disengaging, which then the wife just wants to come back even more. Right. And fortunately for you, your wife goes, "Hey, we're not doing this. We need to talk." And you're like, "Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. You're right." And it's only been 24 hours, not a month. Like super good. But that's typical. That's usually how it starts. Is a lot of times it's the wife saying, "Hey, there's a problem," but how she says it comes across as blame, which then results in self-protection, defensiveness, which then starts the cycle. And it's like,
Yeah, I think.
I
Do
protect
you
me.
do you think that part of it is that men don't know how to articulate how they're feeling? Because I feel like I'm pretty versed in like, okay, this is why this pisses me off. This is why this hurts. This is why I feel defensive. And then sometimes, like the other day, it was like I couldn't articulate. I went from kind of sad to angry. And I haven't felt that way in a very long time, in my marriage anyway. And it was like I didn't know, I couldn't pinpoint why, which was interesting to me. Like it kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
I was like, and the defensive thing, like I wanted to say a bunch of hurtful things back, which is I think part of that cycle of
Yeah.
like, you hurt me, now it's tit for tat. It's tit for tat because we don't know what else to do. We're like, you're saying things that I don't think are true. And one thing Mary and I learned that was super helpful is we would tell each other how the other person felt based on how we communicated to them how we were feeling. We would, either one of us would be like, you can't feel that way because that's not what I meant. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't care what you meant. This is how it made me feel. And that sucks and you're wrong.
Yeah.
So we learned not that we can't control what we say, how it makes other people feel. And
Yeah.
like, I see how that could make you feel that way. That's not how I intended it,
Yeah.
but I can totally see how me saying that would make you feel that way.
Yeah.
I think that's important to
Yeah.
understanding. Like, and then because when we do that, it hurts and we get stuck in that cycle. So we just avoid. Like,
Yeah.
we're not going there because there's never any resolve, right?
Yeah.
It's just we're getting on this freaking hamster wheel, and the results always end up the same.
Yeah.
So let's sweep it under the rug or bury it, whatever,
Yeah.
And then that compounds over a 10-year marriage or a 5-year marriage. And it's like, no wonder we don't communicate, because we don't feel safe talking about this, which is usually what, sex and money.
Mm-hmm.
intimacy and money,
Mm-hmm.
I think is
Two of the big ones for sure.
two of the big ones for sure, right? And so when we don't know how to communicate about those things, we just stop.
Yeah. Well, and here's what's interesting. Did you know 2/3 of the issues in marriage are not resolvable? So only one, so let's say we got,
Break that down.
yeah, we have all these issues, all these problems, and we think a lot of times we can resolve everything. At some point, we should be able to resolve everything. And reality is 2/3. So more of the issues that we
More
have
than
in our
half.
marriage cannot even be resolved. So we need to, one of the things that's helpful is to go, which of these issues is actually resolvable and what aren't? Like then the ones that you go, oh, these are solvable, these are resolvable. We can work, like we can do these. That's then you can work on that stuff and you start getting some momentum, you start getting breakthrough. But then it's also important to go, okay, we have 2/3 of these that are probably going to be here the rest of our lives because they're unresolvable. So we've got to get below the surface because we're never going to agree. We're never going to get on the same page. We're never going to actually feel like this is done, but we've got to learn how to navigate through it. How do we manage the difference instead of change the difference? And a lot of times that's what's happening is
Hmm.
I'm trying to change you, you're trying to change me, we're trying to agree, but 2/3 of these we're not going to agree on.
What's
Period.
an example? What would be an example of something in that two-thirds column?
I think like in my marriage, I'll just give you one that I've discovered in my marriage is totally unresolvable is my wife loves, and this is just my example. There's probably plenty more, but my wife loves to have a minimalist, super clean house. Plus, especially we've been living in the camper for a year. She doesn't want anything extra on the anywhere. So it's all put away. It's all like a bunch of our stuff is in storage anyway. But so like the few things that we have in the camper, she just wants it to look nice all the time and be clean. She doesn't like clutter. If there's clutter, she feels overwhelmed. Where for me, I feel like if I don't have my things right here, I need my things right here so I can see them. I need some things that I can see all the time. I need out of sight, out of mind. And she's like, in sight ruins my mind. So she's going, I need to clean this stuff up. I need to keep it clean. I need to keep, and I'm going, no, I need to keep stuff here. We had a little bit of conflict yesterday over this because I I keep certain clothes right by my bed, which in the camper is the only spot I have. And so I have like my shorts and my shirt ready for me sitting there. And now it's getting cooler, so I have a hoodie. And so I'll wake up, I'll go do some stuff. But I just have my things there and I come back and all of a sudden they're gone. I'm like, Lauren, where's my stuff? She's like, I put it in its place. I'm like, I know. I need just a few things right here. And she's like, I need nothing. So for us, and that's, it's not just clothes, it's books, it's dishes, it's all of it. Like anything that could be out in the camper, she doesn't want out. And some things that could be out, I want them out. And, we're 17 years of the same thing happening over and over and over and over. Right. And I'm like, oh, this is 17 years and we're still having the same conversations about the same thing. And it seems tiny, but I know I can get really mad and
Yeah.
she can get really mad if she's like, he knows I want the camper. He knows I want the house. He knows I don't want stuff out and he keeps leaving stuff out. And I'm over here like, she knows I need some stuff out, but she keeps moving it. Like there's real anger that can show up over this tiny little thing because it's been a 17-year journey with this same exact conversation. So it's like, now I look at it and go, this is totally unresolvable. I'm not trying. If I try to
I'm not
convince you,
changing her. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not going to change you. You're not going to change me. Like we're different people. My desk looks different than hers. I keep stuff out on my desk so I can just go, oh yeah, I got to do that and remember it and read that. And so I have things on my desk and she's got nothing on her desk. Our computers are the same. Like I got stuff on my desktop for me to look at and remind myself, and she's got nothing. I'm like, how do you even find anything? I'm like, I have to see it to find it. And she's like, I better not see it or it overwhelms me and then I can't function. So for us, that would be an example of an unresolvable issue in our marriage, is that we're different. You like things really clean. I need some stuff out in the open for me to see. So now it becomes, how do we manage this difference instead of try to change the difference? Because if I can try to change you all the time, and all it's going to do is make you more and more frustrated, overwhelmed. But how do I compromise? Because I know, like, I don't want you feeling overwhelmed and not be able to work and not be able to function. Like, I got to meet you somewhere here, but I need you to meet me somewhere here too. And so when our goal changes from agreement to understanding,
Mm,
it's helpful, right? I'm not trying to get you to agree with me. You're not trying to get me to agree with you. We're trying to understand each other and having conversations around some of that. Like, look, whenever there's conflict, usually there's a dream underneath there or a wound underneath there. So, like, starting to have, like, hey, this is totally unresolvable. We're going to deal with it our whole lives. But if I can understand, you kind of grew up in a home where everything was out all the time and you spent a lot of your years totally overwhelmed by other people's stuff. And so now, right? So like now I can go, oh, there's some there's some childhood pain underneath there, and I can communicate like I just have a I want my mornings to be really easy. I like to just wake up and have all my stuff right there so I can see it. And I need that. So I have a bit of a like, this is my vision for my life. And she has a, I'm avoiding some of what I had my whole life. And we can understand that. That's where we can find some compromise in it and going, okay, I see this is really important to you. I can see why. Can I adjust some things? And at the same time, can you adjust some things so that I can have a couple
yeah.
things out
Yeah,
on the
I'll
ground?
I'll I'll fold my clothes nicely next to the bed,
Yeah,
right? Instead of it just being a pile, like does it that I love the word compromise because unless nobody agrees on everything,
yeah,
and we're not supposed to because we're all individuals and unique and all the
yeah,
things, right? So I think that what's good about this is finding being able to talk about it instead of just getting pissed off all the time is exactly what you said. Like, okay, we're not going to agree on this probably ever, and but I want to communicate with you like this is the compromise. Like, okay, I know you hate clutter. I will line everything up, I will fold it, but it needs to stay out.
yeah,
Like, okay, what, like, for me it also, I would say, like, Mary is not a door closer or a cupboard closer or a horse trailer door closer.
yeah,
And it used to, dude, I would walk out, and especially if the weather was bad, and the door to the horse trailer would be open, like into the tack room compartment.
yeah,
And I would stomp out there, close it, and then stomp into wherever she was, like taking care of little kids and making dinner, and one on the back and one on the front and
yeah,
irrigating or whatever, and like blow up. Like,
yeah,
what? You can't shut the freaking horse trailer door. It's snowing,
yeah,
like the carpet's going to get wet and then it's going to mold, and I would break it all down for her, and she's like got 10,000 other things going on. But to me, like being the control freak, like how hard is it to shut a freaking door,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And now it's interesting that we have come so far. I actually find it like somewhat endearing. Like this, like every day I go in the house, we have a new house, and it had everything soft close,
oh yeah,
drawers, the
uh-huh.
cabinet, like you just barely touch it and it just so I'm like, in my mind, when we're, they're building the house, I'm like, well, this will clearly eliminate the cloth, the dresser drawer, all the things being open all the time.
Yeah,
It hasn't. Like if I went in there right now, not one, all three of her, in the bathroom, all three of her drawers are
okay,
open because I
yeah,
saw them this morning. And I'll go into the kitchen, and like the dish, there's gone for school. The dishwasher's open, the cupboard doors are open. It's, the boys too, but I just go close them now, and it's like it doesn't piss me off anymore. I kind of find it enduring. This is who she is,
yeah,
like it's okay. It's not
yeah,
the end of the world that a door got left open,
yeah,
because I know there's 27,000 things to this one that she's like, can't you just, can't your dirty clothes make it in that hamper that is 2 feet from your closet?
yeah,
So it is a compromise, but I think we get so angry. For me, it was the big part of this is like the compassion piece of like, We get angry when people don't think like us. Clearly, if you look at what's going on in our country right now, it really touches something in us that's so unhealthy, of us not being seen or heard in why we think the way that we do. And
Yeah.
that probably, if you go back, like you mentioned, to our childhood stuff, like at some level, it's like we've felt ignored in this area, and like what I think doesn't matter, so I'm just going to keep saying it louder. It's like a little kid screaming, right?
Yeah.
Like, I need attention here.
Yeah.
Some needs not getting met. You're not listening to me, so
Yeah.
I'm going to say it louder. I'm going to get passive aggressive, or I'm going to blow up, because
Yeah.
it's weird at the things that I would find myself exploding over. They're so insignificant, and a lot of times that has nothing to do with the thing. It's not the door that's open.
Uh-huh.
It's like sometimes it's the sex or money thing
Yeah.
that we don't know how to talk about, and then
Yeah.
all of our energy and anger comes out at the trailer door being open, and it's
Yeah.
been 4 weeks of something else, and it's like subconsciously, here's my excuse to have a level 10 reaction
Mm-hmm.
to a level 1 issue.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that happens in marriages a lot, don't you?
Yeah.
Is like, why is my wife having a level 10 reaction, or my husband, that if
That's
we could
ego.
take emotions out of it, it's a level 1 thing. I left the drawer open.
Yeah.
Why are you throwing a temper tantrum over it?
Yeah. Well, some of that too, Jeremy, I think, like if you've communicated for a long time, like, hey, I want the door shut. For me, I like the lights turned off. My daughter doesn't turn off the lights. My
Oh,
wife
dude.
never turned off the lights when we would leave, never locked the door. Like that stuff was important to me. I lived in New York. You better lock your door or someone's walking in your car, walking in your house. And like we've had to work through this, but it's like, if I've communicated that stuff, like I want the drawer shut, I want the door shut, the horse trailer door shut, like this is really important. At some point, it's not about the door. It's about I've communicated something important to me, and you keep ignoring it, and you don't do
Gotcha.
anything about it, and it almost can move. Well, I think it does subconsciously move into you don't give a rip about me. You don't,
That's it.
and it's like, it's just a stupid door, but it reveals or it's telling me you don't care about me, what's important to me, what matters to me. And that's how we get to level 10 a lot of times too. From a level 1 thing is because it's to us, it's not just a door. To I've communicated important stuff and you keep ignoring it and you don't do anything about it. And that's, I mean, in the long run, just so you know, that is one of the easiest ways to predict divorce is if someone because why? Because the stupid door keeps happening and they don't know how to work through it. But what they're working through is I've communicated important stuff and you don't listen. And one of the most common reasons why people get divorced is when one spouse is saying, this really matters to me, and they see zero attempt to adjust because it goes down to you don't care about me. You don't listen to me. My voice doesn't matter. What matters to me, you don't care about. You don't give a rip about me. And over time, that just becomes like, wow, like a lot of couples get divorced because of the door, the drawer, the lights. But it's not about that. It's about I've communicated things and
That's so good.
you've never even tried. But maybe how I communicated, I
That's
wasn't
it.
communicating the need underneath. Like for me, the lights, I'm like, I don't want to spend extra money. Like I don't want to burn out light bulbs early. I don't want to in the camper, it's like the more lights are on, the hotter it gets in here. Yesterday it was 90 degrees in the camper because the AC just can't keep up with the Florida heat, right? It's like it's trying, but it ain't working. Like you got the lights on, you got the curtains open, like the sunlight's coming in, the lights are on. I'm like, this really matters to me, not just for the money, but like I walk into the camper, I'm like, dude, it's freaking 90 degrees in here. Like I can't function inside that. But that's the kind of stuff. It's like, those little things, biblically would be like catch for us the little foxes that spoil the vineyard, right? It's not the big
Mm,
foxes that spoil it. It's the little tiny ones you don't pay attention to and you don't see. And if you don't catch those little tiny ones, they become really big because it's not about the door, the drawer, the lights, the clothes. It's about you don't care about me at all. You don't listen to me at all. You don't compromise at all. You don't adjust at all. You don't work through it, any of this at all. And later down the road, it can become divorce for people. It's like, why'd you get divorced? Because she never turned off the freaking light. Shut the door.
So
No, she never listened to what matters to you, or you never listened to what mattered to her.
it really, I feel like, boils down to um, unmet needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Based on our attachment styles of how we were raised, and and then where do we go with that in the flight, fight, freeze categories, and unpacking that, is it all stems down to your point of like, I have these needs that don't get met. And I think it was important. I want to go back to, we're communicating with our spouses all the time, and we're just hearing Charlie Brown's teacher after a while.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I've been conveying these needs to you forever, but it all sounds the same. And then I think, and this is subconsciously, unless you understand this kind of language and thinking about it, it's like, no, I've been having these big, huge reactions to a level one thing. And what if what if the husband's led in this, and we could humble ourselves and be like, logically, this is a big reaction to not a big thing. There's something there. And instead of me getting defensive and being like, get over it.
Yeah.
I It's not a big deal that I leave the light on,
Yeah.
because I know the power bill.
Yeah.
Every light could be left on for the whole month, and it's like 12-cent different.
Yeah.
Like, I saw a meme one time that broke that down, because we were raised in a generation of like, shut the lights off. And I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Every day after my family leaves, I go around and shut off 2,700 lights.
Yeah.
And it's like, in the big scope of things, unless you're living in a camper
Yeah.
and that creates heat, like, it doesn't. But I think the point is like, what if we could understand and separate the difference between emotion and logic a little bit when we're listening to our kids, to our spouses, to anyone really? Like, that's a big reaction to something that logically is a 1 or 2 or even a 3.
Yeah.
And then get really curious around that and be like, explain, can you share with me? And be real careful with our words and not become defense attorneys right here.
Yeah.
But like, I noticed maybe it's a timing. Timing is a big part of it too, right?
Yeah.
Wait till that emotion comes back down the next day, circle back, like my wife had to do with me the other day, and be like, I noticed you had a big reaction to something, and I haven't done a very good job of listening to what you're saying. What do you think? Why do you think that is such a big deal to you? Because I want to change my behavior in this area.
Yeah.
But to me, logically, I don't understand it, because you're having this big emotional reaction to what I think is a small thing, and not be accusatory in how you present this. But I just think that would, like, man, if my wife did that to me, like, why does it bother you so much that the door's open? And then it would maybe get me to thinking like, you know what? I'm not even really sure why. Or it would be like, when I grew up, I would get my ass beat for doing
Yeah.
whatever.
So you
And
got a
so,
wound there. Yeah.
yeah. And so I think that's one way that if we could be less defensive when our spouses or kids have big emotions to things, is like, be curious around it,
Yeah.
wouldn't you say, and ask better questions.
And take some responsibility in it. It's like in grief recovery, we talk about like you need to take at least 1% responsibility. It's the same with defensiveness. I need to recognize when I want to get defensive, and then I need to take responsibilities. A couple weeks ago, my wife and I went on a walk. We go on a walk at least once a day. If I'm when I'm in town and stuff, like, well, most of the time we're going on a walk once a day, and we're just talking about stuff. Because, well, here's a crazy statistic too. Most marriages only talk to each other about important things like 6 minutes a week. No,
Dang.
sorry, 30 minutes a week about important stuff. So it's not very much time that we actually talk. The rest of the time is just not important things. But so we go on this walk, we talk, and she just goes, "Hey, I'm feeling pretty angry about some stuff." And I was like, "Whoa, here we go. I'm ready to defend." And I said, "Okay, go for it." And at the same time, I know enough to go like, I feel that defensiveness coming up. I need to be ready to take some responsibility. And she goes, "Hey, here's what I'm feeling angry about." Boom, boom, boom. Then when she talks about the anger, then she can go, "Well, the reason I'm angry is because I'm actually scared." I'm like, oh, this is huge, right? That right there is huge because anger, we've talked about this before. Usually, anger is just protecting sadness, hurt, and fear. So,
Come on.
until we talk about the anger, we might not even see one of those other things going on. And so, we've got to allow people to talk about the anger to then go, I'm actually really scared. Boom. Now we're talking about the real thing, right? Now I can be more gentle because I'm like, oh, you're afraid. And now I can take responsibility and go, I totally see how you can do. Yes, I totally have done that. I've totally done like if I just take that responsibility and go, I've totally done that. I stop myself from getting defensive and attacking her back because and she also started really good. So she started the conversation really good. She didn't just come out and go, you're doing this, you're doing this. That's
Yeah,
blame
guns a-blazing.
guns a blazing. She's like, hey, I'm feeling pretty angry about some stuff, which is a little bit more of a gentle approach. Yes, she's telling me she's angry, but it's gentler than you're doing this, you're doing that. So then I feel the defensive. I can take responsibility. Yeah, I've totally done that. You're right. I've been doing that. And then she can go, well, it's really because I'm afraid. And I can go, here's what I think is going on with me. And now we're actually connecting with each other instead of further distancing ourselves. Another thing that's huge is what you guys did. Like when you can recognize that stuff in the moment, like I just want to defend. I just want to, or I want to shut down. I want to fight or I want to flight. When I feel that thing, a huge thing, then this is really helpful for me is to go, hey, I'm not sure what's going on yet. I need some time. Like being able to recognize that ourselves and say it, right? Because if you're driving in the car, you're all shut down. You don't know what to say. You're like, dude, this used to be a month. I used to leave the city for a month, the state. I used to leave the state for a month. I feel like I'm leaving the state, but I'm still in the truck driving with you, but I'm shutting down. If you can say, hey, that was a lot for me. I don't really know what's going on. I need to figure it out. Could we maybe circle back tomorrow and see if I figured anything out? That right there. Now your wife goes, he just needs a little break. We are going to revisit this. Instead of, if I don't say that stuff, she's like, hey, you're not talking. Why aren't you talking to me? What's going on? Tell me what's happening inside of you. I need to know. And you're over here like, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Where if you could just go, I'm totally flooded right now. I'm totally overloaded right now. I don't know what to say. I need to figure this out. Can we talk about it in the morning and see where I'm at? Boom. Now she's going, yep. Yeah, I'll give you space. And you're going, oh, I have space to think. That one comment right there can be so helpful in the midst of this. Like my wife and I, when we were out in the field talking, it was happening in the moment for me where I was like, yep, I did that. Yeah. Like we were able to work through it right there in the moment. But if I feel like, oh my gosh, my body is mad, my body is protecting, I'm hot, my face is turning red, my hands are clamming up, like, whoa, if I see that, that's a good place to go, hey, I'm not in a good spot to talk about this right now. Can we just finish our walk and maybe talk about it tomorrow on our walk? I need to figure. If I just say that, it gives us both the space to figure it out and then talk rather than try and talk in the middle of that. Holy cow, that's where we're like going like this. I just didn't say I need a little bit of a break. I need some space to calm down.
Yeah,
And
and then be intentional in making sure you circle back.
yeah,
Because then the next time you try it, it won't work because they're going to be like, no, we're talking about this right now
yeah,
because we never circled back last time.
yeah,
And yeah, I think it's so much of it is just how do we in the moment, like I mentioned earlier, like what are establishing the rules of engagement, like even communicating, like, look, it seems to me like when we talk about raising kids, the budget, intimacy, this is where things usually go sideways. So we're not talking about any of those right now. So we're not fired up about it and we're not going into it already defending our position on whatever topic it is. Like, let's talk about our rules of engagement. Like,
yes,
if we get to a spot and I'm going to throw a bunch of stuff at you, you're going to feel blindsided. I don't know how else for you to feel blindsided about these things what I've been thinking about for a long time, right?
yeah,
So I don't want you to feel blindsided. So if you need a day to process what I'm about to tell you, I'm letting you know going into it, that's okay. But we got to start somewhere. And
yeah,
it's going to be, we need to get to a place where we can set our guns down on the table
yeah.
because man, we're like the fastest gunslingers in the West when these tricky subjects come up, and we got to self-defend. We got to hold our ground. And I think so having rules of engagement going into it have been very helpful for Mary and I, for sure, of
Yeah.
like, we need to talk. Let's set up a time, like our soul and our emotions can kind of get settled into like, okay, let's do this. And we know that there probably won't be a lot of maybe resolve right now, but at least we're going to broach the subject, and we're going to try to set our guns at the table and hopefully push them away a little while a ways, you know?
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest things too for us was me learning how to listen and validate the pain that I've caused my wife. And I just think it's probably worth going over what that looks like. And I'd love for you to interject in here too. But for me, what it looked like was actually listening to my wife. Like, hey, when you do this, it makes me feel like this, and this is why. And that could be, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And then me repeating back to her, like, I want to make sure that I heard everything that you said, repeating back to her what she told me, which just that is hopeful and healing.
Yeah.
Like, because I think that's one of the biggest things our women feel like is you don't listen to me. So to show right off the bat, like, I'm listening to what you're saying, so much so I'm going to repeat it back. And then I'm also going to give you the opportunity for you to tell me if I missed anything. This is what I hear you saying to me.
That's
Did I leave anything out? I'm doubling down on the listening thing. And
yeah.
it takes practice to do this, by the way, and it's hard as
It's so hard.
crap. I found it to be. And then her say, "Yeah, that's kind of the gist of it, but you missed this one really important thing to me." And then for me not to be defensive, like, I'm doing the best I know how to do and all the things we say, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, and then add that into it. And then this was the most valuable piece, I think, for us, is because what happens when we really listen to someone is then it gives us the opportunity, the invitation to put the shoe on the other foot. Like, for us to literally try to go into how they experienced us in whatever this thing may be, right? And then for us to get to validate that pain, like, and not say, well, that wasn't my intention. I'm sorry. Because then we do this, right? Like, I'm sorry that you took it that way. That's not what I meant. And that's the opposite of validating the pain that we caused in it.
Yeah.
It's like, take that part out of it.
Yeah.
And then because we listened to what they said to us and repeat it back, it's like, man, I never really thought of it that way. I'm really sorry that when I did this thing 12 years ago was significant to you and it really hurt you. And I'm really sorry that I talked to you that way, or I did this thing, or I spent that money, or that you found that bottle of whiskey under my seat and I blew up at you, or whatever it may be. And that really stuck with you and it really hurt you. And man, I'm really sorry. I could see how that made you feel in that moment when you were pregnant and I bounced,
Yeah.
or I wasn't there for you when the kids were little and I was busy and my friends were more important to me than you were, even though they weren't to me.
Yeah.
I made you feel like that.
Yeah.
I did that to you. And I'm really sorry that I did that. And then never say the but.
Right.
But I was super busy making a living to provide for you all these things and give you the house and the horse and the dream and the trailer. What all the BS that we passively aggressively defend our position in. Like,
Yeah.
that's the humility piece of letting that stuff go.
Yeah.
Because as you taught us in grief recovery, like, two things can be true at once.
Yeah.
Both things can be true. I was busy making a living to provide for the family, but in the midst of that, I completely ran over you and made you feel insignificant
Yeah.
in the things that you were needing.
Yeah.
Am I close?
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's what you're talking about is so incredible. Like that right there is how you
Repair.
repair these things, is validating, taking that responsibility, not trying to fix it. Remember, it's the whole thing we say about like the heart doesn't need fixed. It needs to be heard, witnessed. And you repeating back to her what she said and even missing something and going, "Oh, yeah, totally. Thank you for telling me that I missed that one. Yeah, I can see how important that is." Like that stuff right there is where the heart gets witnessed. But when you throw in that but I was trying to now you're trying to fix. Now you're analyzing. Now you're criticizing. Now you're judging, not defending, not just witnessing the heart. And that's what that does. That's what you're saying, Jeremy. Like, I'm here to witness your heart and not tell my side of the story right this minute, like, or even telling your side of the story after in a way that's not criticizing back. Like, you know what? I thought the most important stuff, after you've repeated all that back and validated all that, like, you know what? I realized for me, I was, I thought I was doing a good job because I was providing. And now I can see I was maybe providing some money in a house, but I wasn't providing what you really needed. Right. So you can even explain your side while taking responsibility, while validating. And then she can go, yeah, totally. I need more. I need more than just the house and money. I need you and you weren't here. Yeah, totally. I wasn't. You're right. Boom. That that's the kind of stuff that brings the repair, that brings the healing. And I'm not trying to fix it. I'm trying to hear you, witness your heart by repeating this stuff back. And now I'm in a better place to be able to explain what was going on with me during that time too. Because that's
Yeah,
what we want to get to is where both people can share that stuff. Like, you know what? Here's what I thought I was doing. I thought I was fine. I thought I was doing good. Now I see how it affected you. Man, was I wrong? Like, thank you. Now we're both sharing.
well, it just really invites grace into it
Yeah.
because when you do that, I think as a husband, and if you want to be a good leader of your home, you got to go first. You got to set down all the pain, all the pride, and it's pride that keeps us from doing this. I'm being transparent and honest. I still struggle with doing it. I know I need to do it, and it's my gosh dang pride that's like, she did this, and I'm like an attorney.
Yeah.
Like I'm making a case against why I should do this, and I'm making a case against her. And it's my pride that's like, no, I need to set the gun down. I need to go first. Where this gets nuanced a little bit and tricky is when we first learned how to do this, I found that I started doing it wanting a certain result. So I started having the wrong intentions behind it. So I would do it. She would say, thank you. That really meant a lot, whatever she said. And then I wouldn't get back what I was hoping to get out of it. And I'd go right back into hurt, defensive, like, screw this. I'm not doing this again. I didn't get what I wanted out of it. And I'm like, well, I'm missing the whole point.
Yeah.
So when I've walked with some guys through this and what I've learned how to repair my marriage, I'm like, you got to do it for the right reason. And if you're going into it wanting a certain result out of it and having expectations, don't even do it because you'll cause more damage than you already did by not doing it.
Yeah.
Does
And
that
it's
make sense?
yeah, it's easy to become manipulative. Like I'm trying to
It's
manipulate a
manipulation.
certain outcome by doing
And
this.
our wives know that.
And they know it.
They'll pick up
They
on it.
feel it. Yes. And now it's like, I was just trying to manipulate you, not actually listen to you, not
Yeah.
actually hear you. I was trying to manipulate this whole thing to get what I wanted out of this. And if I don't get what I want,
Not doing
I'm
that
not
again.
going to do it anymore, or I'm going to keep on trying to manipulate more and more.
In different ways because I think again it goes back to needs being met or not being met, and I think our brains are so complex and working at such a high rate subconsciously even that we're always trying to find a way for those needs to get met, right? Why do we drink? Why do we look at porn? Why do we do all the things we do? Why do we try to make more money? It's like, well, if I could get this thing, it's going to fix me. And so we're always trying to find the workaround.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's by necessity not bad. It's just we find unhealthy ways to do that because we don't know,
Yeah.
right? Because if we knew how to make our marriages better, I think most men would do it, but we don't know, especially if it wasn't modeled to us, if we didn't see a dad do this with mom.
Yeah.
Like my wife and I will have fights, arguments in front of our kids, but we also show them how we repair it. And I'm like, I need to show my sons how to have humility. And that doesn't mean getting run over. That doesn't mean that you become this pacifist and you're a weak man. No, not at all. But again, back to the rules of engagement. Like, no, this is our process. We're going to talk about it. We're not going to go lock the bedroom door and whisper in the closet or yell and they can hear it. Like, because we don't really yell anymore. But like, no, let's show our kids, like, and they're like, you guys are fighting. And we're like, we're having an argument and you're going to see the end result of this. And
It's
I think that that's what's important about all of this is like how we started this conversation. How do we get our marriage right so that we can show it to our kids. Because, like we've said 1,000 times, like this is how we change our communities. This is how we change our country. This is how we change the church. This is how we change our work environment. I think this is it. I really do.
Yeah, me too.
It's
And
not going to be by voting.
yeah, no, it's going to be by what we do in our homes. And I love that, Jeremy. I think that's one of the most important things is when our kids see that, because then they're seeing reality, right? A lot of times parents are trying to hide that stuff. It's like, well, you didn't hide the fight, but you hide the repair, and they're like trying to figure out what's going on. I think that's huge to let them see that, because all you're doing is giving them tools for their marriage, for their relationships. You're
Well, yeah,
giving
they see the front end of it, but how are we showing them the back end of it? Are we showing them, no, this is literally what it looks like to work through an issue? And it's age appropriate, and it's timing, and if it's going to be a big one, like let's go for a walk, let's
yeah,
circle back tomorrow, like you get it, like there's let's have some common sense here too. I'm not saying that if it's going to be a level 10 on both sides, you do it in front of the family, but I think it's also important because I don't know the statistics, but I just hear of more and more divorces happening with people who are empty nesters. It's like, let's just endure raising these kids.
yeah.
And then when they're gone, it's like the
You
one
got
thing that
nothing to
kept us
use it for.
together was the kids. And that's, I think, on the rise. It's like, let's figure it out real time. And
Yeah,
it's knowing that sometimes it's going to get worse before it gets better, but I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give up.
so good. Yeah, we don't want to do that.
No, but I think as men, and like bringing it kind of like in where I think we're trying to go with wild courage is like humility is one of the takeaways from this conversation. That's a good reminder for me because pride is usually has a lot to do with protection, going first,
Yeah,
doing it for the right reason,
yeah,
setting our gun down first. Like I know that I'm going to take some shots, and I'll even like maybe what if we even overown some stuff that's not true. And again, I'm not saying lay down and take it all on the chin, but like you said earlier, and we learned in grief recovery, like own 1%. Find one thing that you can be like, yeah, I messed that up, even if it's 99% not the other way, and just like let's not become victims. Like I get it. Again, I've said this on here before, but I know what it's like. Like guys are wanting to get to leave their wife after not having sex for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. I'm like, dude, talk to me after 5 years. Like I'm telling you, I get it. I get it. But like stay in the fight, man.
yeah.
Like stay in
Same.
the fight. Don't give up. Find humility. I love this quote that's written on my board over here from Rick Campfield, who you know. It says, go in love, humility, pre forgiveness, and recognize that you could be wrong.
Yeah,
So go in love, humility. And I love this thought of pre forgiveness. Like, I'm going to go into this. I'm already forgiving my wife.
yeah,
I'm going to go in this with pre forgiveness. Like, I'm going to choose it. I'm going to choose forgiveness going into it because it
yeah,
just changes my emotional level.
yeah. Your whole
And then
approach
I'm
is, yeah,
yeah, and then I'm gonna have the humility to recognize that I could be wrong. Like it's funny that we hold on to these things that we don't even remember why we believe so strongly in this thing or feel this certain way about it. And again, I think it just comes back to pride, right? It's like I have stuck my flag in the ground on this thing and I'm not moving off of it no matter what. Now there's non-negotiables as there should be, especially if you're going into a relationship. Like you should have your non-negotiables that are
mhm,
part of your personal core values and belief system that shouldn't waver. So we're not saying being a pacifist. We're not saying get whipped around by the wind and pivot about everything. Like no, there's things as men that we should stick our flag in the ground and we're like we're not budging off of this. For you and I, it's like these biblical principles we're not moving in our belief system and our family creeds or things like that. But dude, there's so many things that I used to think were right and true.
yeah.
Not even close. Like
No,
I'm embarrassed to think about the things I used to stick the flag in the ground in, but that's the recognizing we could be wrong.
yeah,
Like with age, we should reevaluate things.
yeah,
Again, not the non-negotiables, but we should be like, why did I believe that? Why did I feel so strongly about that? And a lot of it comes from our how we were raised,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I don't
I
know.
know.
I think humility, compassion are just the way forward.
They are.
So here's the good news. You're about to start a course, an online course. So share with us what all does that entail? What does it look like? How do you do it? How do you get signed up?
Yeah. It's 2 months. So we're going to go October 27th to December 15th, Monday nights. We're going to meet. How it's going to look is I'm going to do teaching, and then my wife is going to come in, and we're going to demonstrate the tools, the exercises that we're then going to have people do right there in the class. So we're going to take time in the class to go, all right, you got 20 minutes. Here's what you're going to do, but we're going to put it on display. First, we're going to display it the wrong way,
So good.
right? With the criticism, with the defensiveness, with the shutting down, with all, we're going to show you what not to do. Then we're going to show you what to do. And then we're going to give you time to do it in the class. So you actually have some experience in it before you try to do it on a regular basis. So we're going to do that for 8 weeks. We're going to cover the most important part of marriage, the foundation of a strong house of marriage is the friendship, the quality of our friendship. So we're going to help couples become friends again first, because we've changed, they've changed. We're different people. You didn't marry that person 19
I
years ago,
know. I
17
I
years.
love this thing. Justin and I talked about this in a podcast once. It was kind of the premise of like, what if you're married for like, I think statistically like 20 years, you're literally married to three or four different people,
Yeah.
right? Because we're always evolving
Yeah.
and changing.
Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
going to
So that,
work on that. We're going to show people what to do to keep up to date with those changes so that I know what they are. I know who I'm dealing with. Then we're going to do after that, then we're going to do more managing the conflict. Like what's solvable, what's not, and how do you get past the gridlock? Like that word gridlock is super powerful to me. Just like we're gridlocked. Okay. What do we do about this? How do we get around this? How do we clear some of this traffic out so
so
we can
good.
keep moving? Then the third part would be mission, vision, and values. Like, what do we want to do together? What do we want to accomplish together? What's our dreams here? What's our mission, vision, values? But that's the last part after we've worked on some conflict. We are going to talk about sex, money, so all of that. I'm going to even let people kind of vote on like, which of these do you want me to teach on and do you want to practice talking about? And if everyone's like sex, like, okay, then we're going to talk about that. If everyone's like money, then we're going to talk about that. Right. So like we'll give people a little bit of ability to choose your own adventure here in some of this. And so that's what we're going to do. That's what it'll look like without giving too many details. But it's a whole bunch of tools for like that whole defensiveness thing. Like, hey, taking responsibility when you feel defensive will help you not be so defensive and not
So
attack
good.
back. How does a wife start a conversation so that she doesn't create defensiveness? There's one little hack that is so profound to me that can take a husband who's typically defensive and go, I don't need to be so defensive. And so the
Come
wife
on.
and I'll just say that one real fast because I love it. Like a lot of times, even if we're familiar with the emotional language, right? Like, hey, I feel really lonely. We haven't gone on a date for a super long time. I feel really lonely. Like we don't talk very much. I feel sad and lonely. Like, okay, I'm talking about the negative emotions, which can easily cause defensiveness. But if I
Mhm.
know my spouse is automatically defensive, I can flip it and go, you know what? I feel so connected when we go on a date. Could we go on a date
Yeah.
soon? Instead of saying, I feel
You
so
never
lonely.
take me
We
out. You
haven't been
never
on a
spend
date. You
time with
haven't,
me.
like, instead just go, you know what? I feel so loved and connected when we go on dates. I love them. Could we go on one soon? Right. Then the defensiveness doesn't show up the same way because I don't have to protect against all this negative stuff coming at me. So that right there is such
So
a
good.
profound hack for that to go, how do I minimize that defensiveness and stop the back and forth attacking? So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to, yeah, October 27th, we're going to start. I love this stuff. My wife and I have implemented it, like all of this throughout our whole marriage and even more lately because, we've had
Fresh.
it's fresh. Like we also had, our whole story of like they just tore down the house with the mold, which a lot of guys listening to this probably know some of that story of like, oh, they just tore down our house. They're fixing the septic tank. We're getting a new house in like 3 weeks. Like this is all happening. But let me tell you, the last 2 years, if I didn't have this stuff and put it into practice, that probably could have
Oh, sweet.
devas our house wouldn't be the only thing demolished right now. It would be our marriage is demolished. And so, I like to tell people, Jesus promised storms were going to come and some houses are going to stand and some houses are going to fall, but the storm's coming no matter what, or it's already come. And maybe we need to rebuild some stuff, repair some stuff because that storm came. Like this is for me, it was like, oh, you know what? We had a rough 2 years that could have destroyed us individually and our marriage, and it didn't. Like we're coming out the other
Wow.
side better because we put this stuff into practice. We doubled down on it. We sharpened up on it. We became more intentional. We already had a good marriage, and then boom, like everything's getting put to the test. Let's double down on all this stuff and increase it. So I'm pumped. I would say about this class though too, it's not necessarily a class for people who are like, I've been pissed for 15 years and we're on the brink of divorce. Like if you're on the brink of divorce, you probably need to go get therapy, go get
Yeah.
counseling one-on-one. You need a ref to be in your ring telling you, no, 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 whoop, separate. Here you go. I will help you separate because you're not like, there are marriages that this class would not work. So if people are like
Yeah.
on the brink of
That was
divorce,
going to be my question. Who is this for? Do you have to participate with your spouse?
yeah, I'm having
Yeah.
this one
Okay.
be
Good.
both of them together because all the exercises are like, hey, you're going to take 20 minutes and have this conversation, and it's going to reduce stress in your life so you can have better conversations also. And so the only way to do this one is to have the spouses together on it. Yeah, it's more for people who are like, yeah, we're having trouble and we could use some help versus we're on the brink of divorce, we need intervention. Like those, I would recommend therapy there, not something like this. But if it's like, we're pretty good, but we need to sharpen some things up. We need to get better at some stuff. We need to revisit some things. That's perfect for who this is. Or someone who's having trouble, but they're like, we got to get out of this before it gets to the place where it's divorce worthy. That's who it would be for, is more comfortable.
Well, I would say this. I don't know very many couples that don't need this course. It's kind of like wild courage, like going to a retreat. Like they're like, I've had people like, well, who's it for? I'm like, I don't know. Every man that's breathing and
Uh-huh.
alive.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I think it applies to them. I just was thinking, Seth, as we kind of wrap up here, if you've been through a divorce or going through a divorce, there's no shame on you. Like our heart and compassion is for you because I know there's a guy in Wild Courage that's in it, and I feel like he tried everything. And so there's no shame in this, because I like to say big things like don't give up, don't fight. But if you didn't have a choice in it, or if this happened in the past and you're hearing this and you're like, man, I wish I would have had this 6 years ago or 6 months ago, and it's too late for me now. Like this isn't to make you feel shame or feel bad or
Yeah.
like at all. So our heart is and our compassion is for people that have been through divorce, and it's hard, man. Marriage is the hardest thing, I think, in raising kids is the two biggest challenges that we'll face on this planet. I really do. And so this is so hope giving and hopeful, and I'm super pumped for anybody who signs up for this. How do they get a hold of you? How do they sign up for the course?
The website it's about to change over. I think it's changing anytime. It's called the emotionallywholefamily.com. That's it. Or I can send you a link to put in the bottom of the
Oh
podcast.
yeah, I'll put in the show notes
It
the
goes,
link.
yeah, that goes right to the course. I mean, Instagram's a good place to find me too. Just Seth Dahl on Instagram. I have all the links there as well, and all of that is the best place.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also, guys, if you're listening this, like I don't know that I've ever done this, but we do have a website, the wildcourage.org, and we have merch on there, which I've never talked about because it's not been very organized, and it's like a pain when people have ordered stuff. Not a pain, but it's like a whole process. But we're set up different. You can find the merch page on there because a lot of people are like, hey, I want to get one of those cool sweatshirts, or because we have some pretty cool
Nice ones.
stuff. And also, like I said, we're not having a fall retreat, but we will be having a spring retreat, and I'm already getting stoked about that. If you're interested in starting a fire, which we have, dude, you're about to start one. That's
Yeah,
so exciting
we're
in
almost
Florida.
here.
Yeah, so I think we have close to like 30 fires happening all over the country, and we get but Jason like heads all that up, and you can find all that on our website. But also, just to let everyone know, like we're on YouTube as well. Like all of this, I'm most of all the podcasts. Actually, Seth's company does all of our social media, one of his companies, and they do amazing work. So go find us on there, subscribe, leave comments. Like that really, they're telling me, your team's telling me, like, you don't ever promote your own stuff. And I'm like, I know, I feel weird about it, but go check it out, like, subscribe, all the things. It does help the algorithms, I guess. I don't understand it. And also recently on the podcast, I've put a support button on there. It's like $1, $3, I think $5 a month. And I've been hesitant about that. I could monetize this thing all the time, and I don't because it feels gross and slimy to me. But if you believe in our mission and what we're doing, there's a lot of people in need, and all the money, none of us make a dime from any of this at Wild Courage. And I have board members that all goes back into the cause, which is to my next point. If you really want to do Seth's course and can't afford it, that's what our fund is for. We can help partner with you in paying to do this course. So when we do these things, or we go to events and have booths, like all the money that we make goes into a fund, pays for people to get the help that they need that they can't afford, whether it's counseling or doing Britton's course or doing your course, or Casey's course. Go to our website. We have a resources page. Seth's on there. There's another way to find him. Britton's about to fire off a self-worth class. Casey does the porn addiction class. Like, there's resources here, and we have so many generous donors that support us, and this is what the money actually goes for. So I feel compelled to share that with everyone too. But
so good.
Seth, I love you. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for being my friend and for being in the charge with us at Wild Courage. And yeah, guys, go check out all the things, and we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.